deflecting. You see, in order to not deal with the real issue, I have to deflect and say that you're my issue, when in reality, I am really my problem. And so I need to talk to you tonight, and I need you to understand that you are your problem on purpose. That before the foundation of the world, God, as I said last night, I'll say it to you on tonight, God perfectly and perfectly created you imperfect. And he knew that he needed to make you your own problem so that you would always come back to him. Because if he created you to be strong enough to handle yourself, then you would never need him. So he says, what I did was I perfectly created you imperfect. I put within you problems that would develop with time, of course, but they were the seeds sown in you. They were the seeds sown in you by those that you saw, who brought you up and raised you. Come on, there's some things we inherited, some things we learned, but all of us have patterns that have developed over time. They came through experiences, certain things we experienced and, tampered with, and then it brought a whole nother person out of us. You know how they used to say, when you have your first little piece of sex, they tell you, you're smelling yourself. Y'all not trying to, okay, I know y'all ain't never been there because you're all virgins in the room, but somebody told you that they knew the moment you tampered in something you had no business tampering, because experiences have a way of bringing a side out of you that you never even knew was in there. But if I am exposed to certain environments, I start figuring out really who I am. And I know the church has made us to believe that when we come in, if we quicken enough, or if we jerk around enough, and if we run around enough and dance the right kind of way, then everybody will think we're holy. But I want to tell you, the ones that's dancing the most, quickening the most, are the ones that have the most problems. They don't want you to know it. They're not going to admit it. But the reality is, most of the people who are highly anointed are dealing with thorns in their flesh. Y'all want to have church. Now I need to talk about this because Paul is the writer of this particular chapter, of this particular book. Paul is writing to the church at Corinth. And Paul has been heralded as a very educated and astute man. He is eloquent in speech. He understands how to talk. He's such a profound teacher, and people are seeking after him because he is a scholar of the writ. The problem is, Paul wants them to know the same way he told the church at Rome that I'm not a perfect individual. And who you see in ministry is not the real me. Paul starts talking here by the time we get to the second insertion of the book of Corinth, and Paul starts talking to them about chapter number 12, and he says, I know I'm educated. I know I'm skilled. I know I have it all together, and I know y'all like my ministry. But unless, he says, I should be exalted or pumped up by your kind words and your accolades and your waving the fan at me. He says, before I get arrogant and boosted above myself, he said, I need you to understand that there was given to me. Watch this, please. He says, there was given to me. Given to you. Who gave it? He says, God. God has given to me a thorn in the flesh. Y'all got about 15 more minutes? So are y'all ready to go now? Because when it gets quiet, I stop preaching. I need you to understand, brothers and sisters, because I'm at my church, I'd like them to holler back at me so that, I know they understand what I'm saying. So you need to holler down here in Charlotte, all right? Holler just a little bit. We almost there. He says, God gave me a thorn in my flesh. Now, for years, believers reading this particular text, we take it literal. And when we take it literal, the only comparison to thorns that we have are those that are attached to the stem of roses. The worst that those thorns can do is prick. Causing some type of eruption to the blood and just causing slight bleeding. But it would be fine if Paul was addressing that God gave him a thorn the size of a rose stem. Watch this, please. But Paul is not talking about those thorns. He in fact uses a Greek word by the name of skolops.
Yes,
the word skolops comes from a stake, a wooden stake. You can equate this to Dracula's movie, or you vampire lovers, or all of those. You can equate it to that. So the only way to take out Dracula is to drive a wooden stake through his heart. Paul is saying that God gave me a wooden stake.
My God.
So this is painful. This is not just something to prick my little finger and cause a little blood that if I kiss it'll heal. Paul says God has impaled my flesh. He has almost crippled me. You don't believe that God will do it. Well, God talks to a man back in the book of Genesis by the name of Jacob, and he says, what is your name? He says, my name is Jacob, supplanter, liar, trickster. He says, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. But how did God change his name? He changed his name after he broke his body. The Bible said that it was the finger of God that touched the hollow of Jacob's hip, and it caused his hip to go out of socket. And when God changed his name, he never fixed his hip. In other words, God left him permanently crippled so that he would remember the experience with God. You ought to tell your neighbor, God left me with a limp. I need to talk to you tonight about Paul's impalement. He says this impalement, he said this thorn, this skolops, this wooden stake is permanently there. What does this stake represent, Pastor? It may represent someone's sexuality. I don't know. It may represent someone's habit, someone's fantasies, someone's fetishes. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, God put it there. Could it be possible that God is not as trivial as church people are? Could it be possible that the very things your flesh struggle with are the things that God needs your flesh to struggle with, so that you will always have a segue to the altar? He said, because if there's no wrong in you, then you'll never come and crucify your own flesh. I feel like having church tonight, but I need at least 15 that want to go. Shake somebody by the hand and tell them, I know I'm a mess. I know I am. No, you ain't got the right kind of neighbor. You got somebody that's trying to impress people still. I need somebody that's honest up in here. You see, they were worshiping just a few moments ago, but worship is really a symbol of vulnerability. In other words, when you're really worshiping, you're coming naked before him. In other words, there is nothing that I can hide from God. So I need somebody tonight that's not looking to perpetrate or camouflage. I need you to shake somebody and tell them, I really am a mess. I really am. Now, I'm not going to go detail for detail as to how messy I am and what I do, but all you need to know tonight is I've got a skolops. I've been impaired. I've been impaired. I've been impaired. I've been impaired. Oh my, I feel like going through tonight. He said, I've been impaled. I've got a wooden stake in me. And it there. Yeah, it's there. It sticks out from time to time. Because you can't be impaled and I not see it. And regardless of how many clothes you put on, there's going to always be a protrusion that indicates that there's something wrong with you. You're a good worshiper, but you've got problems. You're a great preacher, but you've got issues. And I don't need nobody up in here judging nobody, looking down your nose at the next person, acting like your mess ain't bigger than their mess. All of us got mess, and if we were to pull the covers off and tell the truth up in here, all of us ain't worthy to be standing up in here tonight. But I need somebody in here that will take about 30 seconds to give God praise, because although you've been impaled, you're still qualified. I need somebody to open up your mouth and shout hallelujah. Shout hallelujah another time. And so please understand. Now take your seat, because I've got to take you a little further in this. Because I just explained to you the thorn. But I would be all right pretty much if there was a period after Paul said there was given to me a thorn in the flesh. He says, but there's no period there. There's actually a comma. So in addition to the thorn that was given to me in my flesh, are you bored yet? In addition to the thorn that was given to me in my flesh, Paul goes further after the comma and says, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. In other words, Paul then challenges David's confession that the angels of the Lord encamp round about them that fear him. Paul says, yes, David, I've got angels, but David, I need you to understand that I've also got a demon assigned to me. Hallelujah. Here, let me see if I can break this down for you. Yeah, I've got angels around me, but I've also got a devil assigned to me. Demonic activity has been given to me, but watch the purpose of it. He says, I've been impaled. Are you there? I've been impaled by this thorn in my flesh. He said, and then the messenger of Satan, the demon, comes with the thorn to buffet. Now the word buffet here means to agitate. So it's not enough, Bishop Davenport, that I have a thorn in my flesh. I've also been assigned a demon whose sole job is to agitate the thorn that's in my flesh. In other words, you that are suffering with weaknesses, if we were to be honest, I'm going to be honest with those that are honest tonight. There are certain seasons when my flesh is a lot stronger than at other times. Because that devil, that demon has been assigned to my thorn to agitate it. Now there are times when I'm good, you know, I'm in the holy place. Holy, holy, holy Lord God Almighty. Early in the morning my song shall rise to thee. Oh, I've got a song in my spirit. But then there are some days where I can't even find the strength to open up my Bible. There are some days that the sound of the church is a turnoff to me. And those are the days when I really need God, because that demon has been assigned to me and he's agitating my thorn. He's trying to pull my flesh away from the presence of God. Would you shake a neighbor that's not sick of you yet and tell your neighbor, say neighbor, tell them every now and again this thorn in my flesh gets agitated. But watch what God says through Paul. He said, I've given to you a scolops, I've given to you a thorn, and then I also gave you a demon to you.